not really aware of their expenditure rules or their revenue rules or different things of what they're expecting to happen with this money and with these accounts. And we do have to follow those with this money as well. And that's usually something that staff is worried more about and talking about. But if you're wanting to do something that's against College Board policy and staff comes back and says you can't do it because X, Y, Z, and you get really frustrated, you know, it's our money, it is your money, but these board policies do apply. Any questions on that? Yeah.
That also applies for the clubs or only for?
All of you. Yeah, every one of you. So all of this that I'm talking about right now applies to every club as well as you guys. I'm kind of grouping you guys together for this part of it. Same rules. So, you know, you're hopefully able to stop things that are happening in clubs that are against board policy. Because what you don't want it to do is get all the way to staff, where staff is then turning it back. The more we can keep it within our own student body, the better, to try to fix these things. But if not, then staff's going to catch it at some point. And like I talked about, there is fraud. There's a lot of errors that happen in student body too, but there's a lot of fraud that happens as well. So you never want to have that totally off your radar. And if you have suspicion of fraud or abuse or accounts not being used right or things just not feeling right that keep you up at night, because I know a lot of things keep me up at night, you really need to report that to somebody. You know, get that off your chest. Not in a way to get people in trouble, but a way to protect the money, because you do have a responsibility over this money. It is a big responsibility. It's a lot of work that you're all putting into this. And the worst thing is to put a lot of work into something and then find out later that theft is happening. It's a horrible feeling, I'm just telling you. So at the end of the day, the board is responsible for this money, right? But it's you who are really working with this money. You know what's going on. The board has no idea. They have no idea how much work it is, you know, all the good that it does. Rarely does the board even think about what you're doing, right or wrong. It's just the reality of life. So if you do have suspicion of something not right, you need to report that to somebody. Questions so far? I told you this was exciting stuff. Okay, budgets. Do all of your clubs have budgets?
Yeah, we start them off with $100 seed money.
Okay, so you start them off with seed money, and then they put a budget together. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about is a budget. So you give them seed money, which is awesome, but they really then should be doing a budget of what is their plan for the year. What do we plan on doing in raising money, revenues? What do we plan on doing with that money, with the expenditures, and what will be left over? So when I'm saying budget, I'm really talking, they've given you a plan in numbers of what they hope to do this year. So do you guys have a budget? Mm-hmm. Yes. So you would want the same for all of your clubs, and you should be approving those budgets. And I will tell you, the best way to make sure that every club does a budget is you don't give them that seed money until what? They give you a budget. Otherwise, they don't get their seed money. So you have already a really good hammer right there, right? If you're giving them seed money, you're not going to give it to them until they give you a budget, the plan for the year. Now, when they give you the budget for the year, it's not going to stay the same all year, right? It's a guess. A budget is a guess. And if anybody ever had you a budget at the beginning of the year and it doesn't change all year, they're not doing it right. Because what we think is going to happen isn't going to happen. I mean, we never raise as much as we think we're going to, and things end up costing more or less than we think they're going to. So they're going to give you an initial budget, but you should be seeing a couple updates through the year, as they know what other fundraisers or things they're going to be doing or how they're really going to spend their money. But I would suggest before you actually give them their seed money, they have to give you a budget. Okay? Questions on that? Your job's getting harder, huh? Sorry. So carryover, which I alluded to earlier, you know, you really don't want your clubs raising money and then not spending it, right? Because you want the students who are raising it to get the benefit of seeing it spent as well. You want current students who are raising the money that you want the money spent on current students as well. So I would suggest that along with looking and seeing which clubs aren't active anymore and making a decision about what to do with that money, you guys make a decision about what to do with that money. You should also look at what clubs have a lot of money in their accounts and they're not spending it. Because the point is we want the money to be spent, unless there's a good reason of why we're saving it all these years. Sometimes it takes us several years to save for something. It's a big purchase. the big expenditure, we're gonna have to raise money for 4 or 5 years, but we